Sure. Well, we see the same trend that you see in the US, in Europe, which is people are spending more time at home, consuming more content. They have a large access of platforms. They can access content too, so broadcaster platforms, the new SVOD platforms like the direct-to-consumer ones like HBO Max or Disney Plus, just to name a few, and all the broadcaster platforms have BVOD content, as we call it in the UK. So more eyeballs means that we see a lot of interest from all sides in our industry, and specifically a shift of budget towards CTV. Buyers are using a variety of tools. So it's not surprising to see more and more tech platforms seeing triple-digit growth in terms of CTV spend that we see in Xandr. So the trends are very similar in a way. Of course, they'll be different from one country to another. But the main difference that we have compared to the US, as you said, it's the nature of Europe. It's a large country, a large continent, sorry, with a large number of countries, extremely fragmented, and that obviously causes some problems. So we basically have less supply. It's very, very fragmented. The supply in local markets is very short as compared to what you can see in the US. And in some cases, the second, I would say, difference would be the technology itself. So for example, in France, we have IPTV boxes instead of more standard CTV devices. So without going into details, the technology differences that it adds, it's basically complexity in several aspects of the advertising chain. So that includes programmatic buying, that makes it a little bit more hard. And there's also in some aspect the adoption of the technology by its population. That might be slowed down by the actual, some cases, a little older population in some countries than others, where the US, I think the median age is 37 years old or something. In some countries in Europe, it's a little bit older. So that might play as well in the case of adoption of that new platforms or new CTV devices. Most of the broadcasters always had their own platform, their BVOD platform, broadcaster VOD platform. But we also see a lot more and more alliances. So BritBox in the UK, Salto in France, so that we see that more and more. So in terms of content, and sometimes we also see alliances in terms of data. So that's the case also in France with Sigma, for example, where broadcasters are trying to put their data to access their content together. So we see more and more alliances. That's not new. We've seen alliances across Europe for a while now, but that's definitely something they're trying to, in order to compete with the Netflix or the likes of Netflix, they're trying to put their content together as well. I think it's the same everywhere, especially more in Europe. As I said, it's so fragmented that from a country to another, it's very, very difficult to get the same. I think we see a lot of interest from the buyers. Everyone wants to buy CTV, and we see that on our platform, of course. I think a lot of the buyers are it's better now, but are not trained enough in what is CTV. They're used to that digital mindset to target individual users. That might not always be the case when we talk about CTV, because we usually target at the household level. So there's that delta that we need to kind of make sure they understand. And again, the big issue is measurement. I think we've had that for quite a while. And these are still issues that we need to figure out as a whole industry. One thing that I really see I've seen in the past 12 months, it's really the TV sales house, the broadcasters sales house are really wanting to get closer to programmatic buyers. So they're really starting to have direct relationship with the DSPs. So that's the case in the UK for several broadcasters, in Germany, in France, all over Europe, really. We see that becoming really a trend for several reasons. They're trying to build a private marketplace in some cases, but also trying to innovate. They're trying to bring new buyers to their platform. And that's really the key for them. They want to stay very innovative. So we see a lot of premium publishers finding innovative ways to give not only access to their VOD content, but also to their linear inventory using existing tools. They don't want to recreate the wheel. Tech platforms like us can do that for them, as we do in the US with Invest TV. In Europe, they would kind of get closer to the DSP. So they want to get digital video buyers that are used to a digital DSP, and basically new TV buyers. They're trying to attract them using similar tools that they're used to. And that's what we've done in France, for example, with a company called Realytics. As part of our partnership, we basically allow Xandr Invest DSP users to complement their digital buying with the linear TV buying, thanks to the Realytics integration. So that's really a great way to automate and simplify the linear TV buying, and the return from the market is absolutely amazing. I think anything we can add to simplify linear TV buying and bring new buyers is always going to be very welcome. Up until now, I was kind of helping accelerate our video effort across Europe, and since about a few weeks ago, I also have a second hat where I'm leading the Southern Europe services team. On a personal level, it's great because I'm getting closer to all the projects and talented team that are working on those projects. But I think mainly that represents what Xandr has become as a business and a platform. We are several people that joined the company on the way when Xandr was really created 2 years ago to become a video-first platform. Now we are several people at different positions of the company, at different departments, different seniority, people that actually also were there before but learned to be experts in video. So having all those video experts a little bit everywhere in the company really shows that the company focus is really around video, and our focus is really there, and the investment that we've made to become a video-first company has paid off.